Dynamic EQ? Bet. Talk about one of the coolest tools that you can have. Today I'll show you what it is and how to use it on some vocals. Cue my intro slidey thing. All right. Please like and subscribe, and let's get started. So if we look here, we have our dynamic EQ. It's got gain. It's got a Q, as well as we can choose the frequency at which it's going to be at. And these are your standard EQ settings. And so you're like, cool, you can EQ on it. No, you can't. You cannot EQ on it. That is not what it's for. Well, sometimes. Depending on the dynamic EQ, sometimes you can EQ on it and sometimes you cannot. Here I've got loaded up a vocal and let's see how it works on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
So you can see this flat line across the top. So this is actually what our decibels of that area is. So if we play this, you can notice that it's not moving.
Oh, yeah.
We have compressor settings on the right-hand side over here, however. So if we bring this threshold down and we click play again, well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah.
Now we've got something going on. So if I wanted to EQ, however, we can come over to something like the F6 from Waves, which is an EQ as well as dynamic processing, both built into one, except we can actually EQ with it. Like a compressor, we have our attack, our release, and then our threshold. But we also have another option here called range. And this range here is actually our ratio. So if we drop the threshold and play this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
and then change the range down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
you'll notice we start getting some action.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
Right? And that was a good amount of gain reduction right there. And something like the F6 from Waves is a very practical tool. So let's see it in action.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Na, na,
we'll remove the mud.
oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah.
And if the low is uneven, we'd add some compression to even it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
We can add a high shelf if needed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
And again, if needed, we could compress there in the high end to help balance out the highs and lows. This is great if you get somebody who is recording and they're really close proximity to the mic and really far away, because then you get the deeper sound or the higher sound of their vocal, for example. If I'm really close, then you get a lot deeper of a radio voice. I mean, seriously though, this is me talking normal. It's a lot of energy to potentially balance out, and volume isn't going to do it by itself. So being able to compress things in certain frequency ranges when they're stronger is a great way to help balance out a vocal and do needed repair prior to the rest of your processing. So we would EQ the rest to taste. If it was tinny,
Yeah, na, na, na. Oh, yeah.
we could add 3 to 600. 3 to 600 is about where you get the tinniness or boxiness. Up more is boxy, less of it's tinny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah.
So not only can we do that to taste, but what we can also do is sharpen a Q here. And there's not really any S's in this track, but if we wanted to, we could go find any S's and do some de-essing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
This is also great for de-harshing, anywhere from about 1K, 2K to up to 7K can introduce harshness into your mix, especially the 3 to 4K area, 3200, 4200, things like that. And so if you go in and you start doing some sharp cues, I wouldn't do a lot of them, but one sharp cue, maybe two sharp cues, and you find where some really harsh tones are, you can get rid of those and smooth things out a lot. If you listen to the difference here of this before and after. So with number 5 here shut off,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
you might not even notice it's harsh, but we turn it on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
All A, B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Not only can we do some de-essing and do some damage control and do some of our standard EQing, an amazing trick I love to do with these dynamic EQs is to add some performance, especially after compression. You can lose a lot of performance in the vocal. So what you can do is you can add a wide band, right? Got a pretty wide band there. We'll just turn the gain back down to 0. That way it's not changing anything until it's engaged. And remember this range, we're going to turn it up instead of down. So let's start playing this and let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah.
With and without, without,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na, na, na.
You should hear some dynamics and performance that was added that wasn't quite there before. And this is great because you can do it just in those higher frequencies and you can get a lot of change without actually having to compromise where your track sits in the mix. Great trick. Love it. Use it a lot. So in summary, a dynamic EQ is like a multi-band compressor, but each band has EQ settings. This is an amazing tool to make fixes that only activate when they need to activate and leave the rest of the audio signal unscathed or left alone. So please make sure to compress that like button. If you have any comments, comment. I always appreciate a subscribe. This is Warren with Scale Audio, and adios.